He's 2-0 with a 54-hole lead at the majors. He won the 2022 Masters by 3, and that was with a 4-putt double on the 72nd hole. He won by 4 at Augusta National in 2024 PGA Tour. He's converted his last 7 solo 54-hole leads. Brandel, someone's going to need to go Johnny Miller tomorrow to have a realistic crack.
They are indeed. I mean, look, the golf course firmed up today, which I think really allowed him to shine. You know, when you start to just consider what we're looking at with him, he has a level of technical audacity not seen since Tiger Woods, but it's far more reminiscent of Jack Nicklaus, you know. And when you look at him, you know, the way he goes about it, you know, we live in an era where if you have a sort of a decimal fetish, everything has become a science. You know, every shot, every strategy examined with a jeweler's loop, and they've turned this game into, you know, or try to turn it into something linear. But someone comes along whose feet are all over the place, who swings in a way that no teacher would teach, but a great teacher wouldn't touch. And that's Randy Smith.
Well said.
That is Randy Smith. Because, again, we've said this before, but Randy Smith also taught Justin Leonard. Justin Leonard has one of the flattest golf swings in the game of golf. And Scottie Scheffler has the most upright swing I've ever seen. The only teacher I can think of that brought 2 players along that ascended to the Hall of Fame that look more different or as different as these two is Ben Crenshaw, Tom Kite, by another great Texas teacher, Harvey Pinnick. So again, you know, it takes, you know, a matter of luck that he ran into Randy Smith. But the discipline that he had and the drive and the competitiveness, as we take a look, right on cue, you'll have the production team right here. That's Randy Smith right there, and Scottie Scheffler. And these two have been a team. And by the way, Randy Smith, I've said this before, either the Korn Ferry Tour, the PGA Tour, or the LPGA Tour, something like 20 juniors from his junior golf camps have made it into professional golf at the highest level. So I think that's a testament to him and a great break for Scottie. But when you put that sort of luck together with the talent and the tenacity that Scottie Scheffler has, you know, it sort of equals what Jack Nicklaus had with Jack Grout and let him go. And that's what we're enjoying right now in Scottie Scheffler.
I'd add another name to those coaches, and that's Bob Torrance, Brandel.
Yeah.
And, you know, I wasn't a Hall of Fame player, but I was a very flat swinger. But Ian Woosnam was you know, coached by Bob Torrance, and he swung very differently than Padraig Harrington. And you know, I played amateur golf with Padraig. Obviously, we grew up together, went to the same school together, and we played amateur Walker Cup together as well as amateur golf for Ireland together. And Padraig had a very flat swing. I mean, if you saw his swing, it was unbelievable. He only had one shot, it was a low fade. And Bob took him with really high hands to a big high draw. But what was great about him was that he could coach different styles of players in different ways. And what he taught me and what he told me was very different from what he told other players because of the way I swung the club. So aside from that, getting back to Scottie, and I know we've mentioned this a lot and the risk of repeating myself over and over. What really impresses me, among many things, is the mental reset that he's able to do and how he's able to wash away mistakes and come back and reset. That bounce-back ability, I love that stat. It's a window into the soul of a golfer and how they can reset. Because when you drop a shot and you hit some wild shots, and we've seen him hit a couple of wild iron shots this week, when you hit a wild shot, it's devastating. It's like, where did that come from? And then you start questioning your golf swing, and you can go down a rabbit hole very quick and lose your momentum in a round. But he doesn't seem to be able to do that. And I can illustrate that by saying he's made 6 bogeys this week. And on 4 of those 6 occasions, he's bounced back with either a birdie or an eagle. That's unique, that's rare, that takes a special talent mentally. Aside from all the physical stuff with Randy Smith and wonderful, and the swing and the grip and the shaping of the shots and the short game and the improvement with his putting and all of that, that's all on top of it. But that to me, in terms of being a championship, major championship winner and one of the best players in the game, and as you said the other night, maybe one of the greatest players in the history of the game evolving here, you've got to have that about you, and I think Scottie has that better than anybody else in the game, not just now, but from the previous era, and only Tiger Woods you would put up in that category.
And I'm not sure you could teach that. I mean, that's about his temperament, you know? That's about what's between the ears. Wouldn't you agree?
I think it is, but yeah, I mean, where does that come from? Absolutely. It's between the ears and its ability to be driven. That's what I think it is. It'd be driven into a positive mindset, and I'm not going to accept that, and I'm not going to let that drag on. And it's easy said, and it's easy to say. It's a sound beast, but to be able to do it is, as a golfer, it's good, because we all jump down the rabbit holes. How often do we feel sorry for ourselves? We all do it. Professional golfers, no matter what elite level, you see one mistake and you see another one followed. You look at Bryson today, he bogeyed 16 and hits it in the water in 17. How often do we see one mistake lead to another? Not just picking out Bryson, but all the golfers. It seems to be a regular occurrence. And this guy, this is why bounce-back ability is a wonderful stat on the PGA Tour.
Yeah. But the reason, and I think you'd probably agree, that, I think we're looking at the beginnings of a career that could be one of the greatest players of all time. And I think will eventually be called one of the greatest players of all time. I think just what you said, he has a temperament and a talent that are so alloyed that I don't think he's prone to tinkering with his technique or tinkering with complacency. And both of those are the biggest hurdles of sustained success in professional golf today. They're playing for more money than they've ever played for. And we've seen complacency very recently. We see it. And we've seen the tinkering very recently. My golf swing's good, but it doesn't look good. And somebody comes along and tells you, you got to get neutral through the ball, or you got to be more this way or that way. This is a golf swing that he had when he was a junior and won hundreds of golf tournaments. This is a golf swing he had when he was in college. He was a freshman of the year. It's a golf swing when he came out. And Randy and Scottie are not inventing the wheel. They're not changing that footwork. They're just going back to the fundamentals that they would have been talking about when Scottie was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old.
I'm nitpicking here, but for all of Scottie's great ball striking over the last year and a half, he has just the one major to show for it. Now he's won the Players FedEx Cup, he won the gold medal in Paris, he won all those signature events, but in this period where he has been a dominant number one, he can't let this opportunity slip away. And Brando, you mentioned Jack Nicklaus. I think, third round gold standard at the majors. You go back to Jack's third round 64 in the 1965 Masters, when Bobby Jones famously said he plays a game with which I'm not familiar. More recently, I'll throw in Shane Lowry's 63 at Royal Portrush. But that last 5 holes that Scottie just played, as good as I've seen.
Well, and Jack went on to win by 9. And Shane Lowry, I believe, went on to win by 6. Mm-hmm. So both of them lit the place up and carried it on into, and I often say that you can sort of predict how a player is going to come out and play on Sunday by how they finish on Saturday night. And you can't find more difficult finishing holes than these. And you've never, ever seen the Green Mile played better than you've just watched it played today. That was absolutely exquisite execution.
And right down to that final shot, Paulie, out of the divot from 165. I know for you guys that isn't an especially hard shot, but again, as Scottie likes to say,
well, to get it that high,
you have to execute, and he did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a shot that he's obviously played many, many times on tour. You do end in divots a lot, and it's a shot that he has rehearsed. Nonetheless, it was well executed. But the tee shot was brilliant too, wasn't it?
Yes,
I mean, to split the fairway the way he did, put the ball back in the stance, drive it out of it. Pin was over on the right-hand side. It wasn't near water today. He was on a high. The shot was the divot didn't bother him the way that the mud balls did the other day, because he was in such a positive space in his head.
Well, to see somebody hit it as high as he did out of that divot, most of the time when you're in a divot, right, you've got to have a steeper angle of attack. You're typically driving it in there low. That was a front right pin, and just a really steep angle of descent, and the ball was just dancing all around the hole.
I'm a little bit surprised he's hitting balls here. Are you? What's that about? I mean, he just played one of the greatest golf rounds, certainly in recent major history, and yeah, okay, Randy's there. I mean, is there any need to do that? Should recovery not be the number one thing at this moment in time? I don't know. Listen, how are we to question?
He knows.
Scottie?
I think he knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing, and so does Randy. And I don't know. Maybe it's just getting rid of a bit of nervous tension, passing some time. It's often a nice place to be out in that range after you've had a good day.
I've been noticing, Randy, this week, especially the first couple of days, he's been standing back behind him sometimes putting his hands on, yeah, exactly.
His hips, yeah.
Trying to get, him to clear his hips. You can find it on YouTube in a great session with Chris Como where they're going back and forth and talking about how he needs space, and he creates that by keeping his posture and his hips back as he begins to transition.
Let's also give a lot of credit. We're giving Randy a lot of credit here, deservedly so. But let's also give a lot of credit here to Phil Kenyon, what he's done with his putting. This guy was really struggling with the putting before Phil Kenyon got involved here. And I know it didn't work for Rory McIlroy with Phil, but it certainly has worked with, he's gone to a different level of putter. Those putts that he held down the stretch there today, Brandel, I mean, there's a lot of footage held there. Some wonderful putts. He looks like he's going to hold the putts now. He's not wishing them the way he was 3 or 4 years ago.
Are we giving credit to Phil or Rory?
For telling him to change putter. Wow.
Because, look, if you've ever, and maybe you have, if you ever go look at the data of a blade versus a mallet, I mean, it's almost analogous of the data of a wood versus a metal wood. The forgiveness of that putter that he has right there in his hand versus a blade. And I know blades look good, and I know most majors were won with blades, but that was before people could make a mallet the way they make them now. The forgiveness in that putter is so much improved over a blade. So yeah, I'm sure Rory to some extent rused the day that he made that suggestion.
Right. Just after 8 o'clock here in the East on a gorgeous night in Charlotte, we just witnessed golf at the highest level by world #1 Scottie Scheffler. He goes through the green mile like a holy terror, and he shoots a 6 under 65 to seize control of the 107th PGA Championship. He leads by 3 going to Sunday.